Hey guys, so today I maybe have another book haul? Yes, there's another book haul, and it is upon us. So today's haul is super exciting. I have two delightful boxes from Book Outlet, as well as I have about 4 other books here. 2 of them are Barnes & Noble classics, and 2 of them are also so exciting. So overall, they're just like a plethora of books here, and I'm really excited. So for the Book Outlet books, I have talked about it before, but I'm actually a vlogger friend over at Book Outlet. So essentially what happens is I will leave a link down below, and you can click on the link and it will take you to my vlogger friend page over at Book Outlet, and then you can see a list of all the books that I have bought there that are currently in stock, so you can see if that's something you potentially would want to buy there as well. Such an exciting haul. So I'm just gonna get into it because there's so many books here, and there's definitely like a bit of a theme here. Books. So many books. Anyway, so let's just get into this haul. Alright, so I'm gonna start with the unboxing, and first I'm gonna open the small Book Outlet box. It just came like yesterday. I haven't actually opened it yet. There are 2 books in here, I believe. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Paper. Okay, so here are the 2 books first that I got. I like made the big order first, and then like 2 days after that, 2 books that I've been really wanting to get came on the site, and I was like, I just gotta get it. So first here we have Warrior Witch by Daniel L. Jensen. So this is the 3rd book in the Maledictions trilogy. I have the first one, and I saw that the 3rd one was there, so I was like, I'll buy it because I have a feeling that I'm gonna love this series, because a bunch of people that I know that have read it just like rave about this book. It's a high fantasy-esque story about trolls, where this like underground community of trolls like steals a girl because they think she's gonna be able to break the curse so that they can go above ground. But yeah, so I got it. And secondly in here, we got Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. So this is the 2nd book in the Diviners trilogy. I have actually done a video review for the Diviners, and I'll leave that down below if you're interested in hearing my thoughts. And essentially, I wanted this book because Libba Bray is great. This series is about 1920s New York and like magical ghosty killers. I don't want to say too much and like spoil it, but yeah, it's just like a paranormal like fantasy-esque urban fantasy that's set in 1920s New York, and it's like flappers and cool stuff, and it's just like written so beautifully, and it's just like this mysterious mystery, and you're just trying to figure out what is happening and why is it happening and how do we stop it, and it's so good. And I've heard this is great, but I'm pretty sure there's like more books in the series supposed to come out, but there's no like release day, so I'm like really hesitant to read this because I don't want to get super invested and then be like, oh, I have to wait like 3 years for a book. That would be terrible. George R.R. Martin, don't want to repeat that. So here's the big box. It's freaking huge and heavy. I've already opened it clearly. When it came, I ripped into it because I was like, oh god. Okay, I'm just gonna put it on the ground and pull up some books, and there's definitely 2 themes, sort of, not really. There's like a lot of nonfiction books in here, and I'm really excited for all of them. So here, I'll just show you. So first here we have Audrey at Home, Memories of My Mother's Kitchen with recipes, photographs, and personal stories by Luca Dotti and Luigi Spinola. And so Luca Dotti is one of Audrey Hepburn's sons, and so this book is so cool. It's just pictures of Audrey Hepburn, stories from her son's perspective, and then it's a cookbook. So I thought that was so cool, and I'm a huge fan of Audrey Hepburn, so I was like, how could I pass this up? I've been wanting to read it for so long because I've just heard a lot of great stuff about this memoir. And I just liked how it was also like a cookbook, and just, I don't know, it seemed really interesting, so I'm super pumped to read this book. Next here, we got another Audrey Hepburn memoir from her other son. This is Audrey Hepburn in Elegant Spirit, A Son Remembers, Sean Hepburn Farrer. And this is by her other son, obviously, and it's, again, a memoir from her other son's point of view, and it's just got pictures and like behind the scenes stuff, and I'm a huge fan of Audrey Hepburn, so just like being able to like look at these like personal stories about her is just like totally fascinating to me, and I love just like the pictures. I don't know, I'm a fan. Okay, and Don't judge me too much, but I got another Audrey Hepburn book. This one's called Fifth Avenue, 5 a.m. Audrey Hepburn, Breakfast at Tiffany's in the Dawn of the Modern Woman by Sam Wasson. This book is about America in the early 60s, before Woodstock and birth control, when a not-so-virginal girl by the name of Holly Golightly raised eyebrows across the country, changing fashion, film, and sex for good. So I'm just like really intrigued to read this. I don't know, just like get a peek into 1960s America, like why not? So the next two books I got are also nonfiction and just extremely fascinating. So the first one here we have is Morgue, A Life in Death by Dr. Vincent DeMaio and Ron Franskill. Dr. Vincent DeMaio is a very well-known mortician. So this guy has done a lot of work on really famous cases. This is just like this guy talking about his life and like how he got into it and just like some of the ins and outs of working in a morgue, and it's just like got some cool pictures, and I just find death culture extremely fascinating. This book had great reviews, and I just am super interested in reading about morgues and really morbid stuff. I think it's extremely fascinating to read about. So going along with the theme here, we have another mortician-y book, and we have here Working Stiff, 2 years, 262 bodies in the making of a medical examiner by Judy Melinek, MD, and TJ Mitchell. So this lady is kind of talking about her career as well as, I guess, a medical examiner. So the very first thing on the back is apparently 2 months into her job training, 9/11 happened, so 2 months on the job, and then there's this chaos and destruction, and then just like thrown into it. And so this lady works in New York, and she's a medical examiner, and she's talking about her career, again very similar to the Morgue book. This was actually the book of the month for the books subreddit, which I would highly recommend if you like reading articles about a bunch of different like literary topics, and every month they have like a book of the month. And so I saw that this was the book last month, and I was like, oh man, I want to read that. And so I like put it on my mental radar, and then I saw it on Book Outlet, and I was like, this is perfect, I need it. And so I got it, and I'm just really pumped to read this, and then I can go back and like look at all the discussion on their forum talking about the book, and so I'm really just pumped and like morbidly curious, obviously. So there's only 2 more nonfiction books, so bear with me. But the next book I got here is Columbine by Dave Cullen. So I have never read this book, Columbine, but obviously I've heard and read quite a bit about the whole Columbine massacre. It was a school shooting in 1999. Media went crazy. Parents were like blaming Marilyn Manson, and so this book apparently is like the book to read if you want to just like read a bunch of stuff about Columbine. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm like a pretty morbid person, so just reading about this kind of stuff is just super fascinating to me. I like have a diploma in criminal justice, so I just find the whole like the morbid curiosity of these kind of events. And it's also good to like learn more about the victims' stories, really getting a good grasp on like what happened here, you know? So I'm just like really excited to read this. So lastly, for the nonfiction here, we have The Romanoff Sisters by Helen Rappaport, and I've been looking at this on Book Outlet for so long, and I kept being like, oh, I'll get it on the next order, I'll get it on the next order, and finally I was like, there's only like a few left in stock, I need to get it. I love Russian history, especially like the Romanovs. I was obsessed with the Anastasia Don Bluth film when I was a child, but it's just like another non-fiction-y telling of like all the events surrounding the whole like Russian Revolution. And so this is just like another book like focusing on the daughters, and it's just got lots of pictures, and apparently there's a bunch of transcripts of letters, because these girls were like the Kardashians of their time. They were rich, they were beautiful, everyone wanted to know what they were doing. As you may be aware, they were murdered, their entire family was murdered, so I just think it's gonna be so interesting. Okay, so I have 4 more books in this box, and they're all YA, like fantasy stories here, back to regular programming, as it were. So first here we have The Winner's Kiss by Marie Verkowski. So this is the 3rd book in the Winner's Curse trilogy. Haven't read any of them, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like them, and this is a common theme for me where I see things on sale and I'm like, oh, I should get that while it's cheap so that I can read it eventually. And it's got like these nice beveled edges, sealing the deal here. Apparently this series is great. This main character is a very strong-minded woman who fights with her mind, and she's just kind of not like the typical tropey relying on men sort of character, is the gist that I got. I might be wrong. And it's just about like political intrigue in like a castle-y royal setting, and I'm not quite sure, but apparently it's great. Gonna read it eventually. So next year we have Rapture by Laura and Kate. You might be like, but Sarah, I thought you had taste. Haha, go away. So this is the 4th book in the Fallen series, and last year I listened to Fallen as an audiobook. It was a bit of a guilty pleasure. I mean, from a logical reader's point of view, the book is trashy, it's meh, but I loved listening to it on an audiobook. I thought it was so fun. On the first week of school, when I went back for my like spring term, I found the first 3 books at a Value Village. They were on like super cheap, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. And then I saw that the 4th book, was for sale on the book outlet, and I was like, this is perfect. So I got it so that now I have the whole series, and I've read the first one, and I'm gonna be lending it to my mom soon. It reminds me of the Twilight days, and I'm grasping onto my childhood here. So, you know, next year we have Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, and I'm so excited. I know the 2nd book is like just coming out or just came out, I'm not quite sure. This is like a YA fantasy story in which the world has these different type of witches, so people have different type of powers, and so the main character is a very rare sort of witch, which is a truth witch, so she can tell if people are telling the truth or not, like, and so that makes her very valuable in like a political setting, because she can be like, nah, that's bull crap. But I mean, this book is blurbed by Sarah J. Maas and Robin Hobb, and I've just like heard a lot of stuff about this on BookTube, and I know it rode the hype train a bit, and so I'm going into it like a little hesitant, just because I don't really know what to expect, whether I'm gonna like it or not, but I've been really getting into like high fantasy lately, so I feel I'm gonna like this, and apparently there's lots of really good female like friendships in this book, and so I'm just excited to see what's up. Okay, so last for the book outlet haul here, I have Alive by Scott Sigler, and so for this book, it was so hyped. Like last year, it's like a thriller story where the main character wakes up in a coffin and she doesn't know anything about herself, and she like fights her way out, and that's like literally all I know about this story, because even in the back it's like, don't tell people what it's about because it's a big spoiler, so please don't tell me what it's about. This could be terrible or it could be great, but it was $3, so I was like, I'm a gambling man. Woo! Okay, so that was the book outlet books, and so now I have 4 more books. 2 of them from Chapters with gift cards I got for Christmas, and 2 of them from Barnes & Noble because my mom and my sisters went down to the States last weekend, and they went to Barnes & Noble, and they hooked me up. They hooked me up. So I'm just gonna show you these, because I know for you Americans, this is just like, just a normal Tuesday. The Barnes & Noble's hardcover, like, classic edition books are great. I'm a huge fan of them. I have like 3 of them, now I have 5. Anyway, I digress, but first here we have The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Can we just? So, I learned this after the fact, but apparently this is the abridged version, so that's not that great, but I mean, this is 1,000 pages long. Apparently the original is like 1,200. But it's just so beautiful. I've been wanting to read The Count of Monte Cristo for a very long time, because going back to the books subreddit, whenever people are talking about like their favorite book of all time, The Count of Monte Cristo comes up so much, and so I've been really intrigued for the past like 2 years to read it. Now I have it in this beautiful edition, #blessed. So the second one I got here is A Treasury of Irish Fairy and Folk Tales. There's no author, it's just kind of folk tales, but this book is just so gorgeous, and I've seen a bunch of people hauling this and talking about it, and I'm just like, oh. So essentially, this book, the end pages are not that great though, I must say. It's just a bunch of fairy tales. I'm just really intrigued to read these different stories and just get inspired for my own writing. So lastly here, I got 2 books from Chapters. I had a gift card from Christmas and I used it. So the first one I got was actually in the clearance section, and I'm so excited because I know a bunch of people have read and loved this book, and that is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I actually like rented it as an audiobook from my library, and I just started listening to it like right before I bought it. Ooh! Look at this. So this book is about a suicide of a girl whose dad is a director that has a cult-like status. He's very mysterious and weird, and it's just kind of the story of, was it suicide or was it not? And one thing I did not know was that there are logs and kind of like Illuminae style things in here. Like, it is a regular novel, but then it's also got that supplemental like addition of online content, and there's like fake little ripped out newspaper articles that's in the book. And I didn't know that from listening to the audiobook, because obviously it's an audiobook. I'm really excited, and from what I've like listened to so far, I think it's really, really interesting, and I've just heard so much good stuff about it, so I'm just like ready. My body is ready. Okay, and so the last book of the haul, this is one I've been like wanting to buy for like 2 years, and I just never got around to it. And then finally I got this gift card and I was like, perfect. It is time. But so that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, and this is the Penguin cloth bound classic edition. These books are my guilty pleasure. I've been collecting like classics lately because I'm really like getting into them, and so The Picture of Dorian Gray was one that I've been wanting to get for such a long time. I haven't read Dorian Gray, but this is going to be on my list of classics that I want to read in 2017, because this is one of those like classics that apparently is really great to read in a contemporary setting, and it's not like especially dated like some of the classics you can read. Apparently it just kind of cuts the shit and gets to the point, and it's really great. So it's about a guy who paints a picture of himself, and the picture ages and he doesn't, and it's just kind of like one of those weird kind of macabre stories. Actually, wait, no, I think I have read this like back in high school or something. I'm just excited to give it a read. But yeah, so those were all the freaking books that I got. So now I need to rearrange my shelves and try to fit these into the shelves. It's gonna be difficult. But yeah, I'm so excited by all these books. Please let me know in the comments below of all the books that I've hauled, which you would recommend reading first, because, you know, I don't know how to pick. I like always struggle with like being like, which book do I want to read? But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching my video. My name is Sarah, and I will see you guys later.